The most important person in the whole wide world is you, and you hardly even know you. The most important person in the whole wide world is you. Come on, we'll show you. Let's find out more about the things you feel and do, 'cause you're the most important person in the world to you.
Hello, 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 and welcome to One for All is Love. Today is Wednesday, July 15th, 2020, and today's show is Proverbs, chapter 3, verses 5 and 6, with Sonya Spirit, and I am Sonya Spirit. So, yes, welcome to today's show. Okay, and I should have published this, because I've really been having this concept, all throughout my mind for a while now. So I should have pushed the publication through. But anyway, enough of excuses. Okay, so let me go ahead by reading Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Okay, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Okay. I just have a feeling. Okay, that's all this is. Just based on everything that's been going on this year. Okay, and it's so interesting because 4 is a number of foundation and materialization. Excuse me. And the fact that there is so much change transpiring in this physical world, in this material world, in this manifested world reality. There's a lot of change transpiring, and it's taking place globally. So it's not in isolated areas in which we kind of brush it off because, this doesn't affect us, that doesn't affect us. So, of course, with the virus, coronavirus, it's a global pandemic. And, of course, it has hit, it has touched every country, starting from the east and in China and wiping its way westward with the most impact in the Western Hemisphere between, the U.S. Hands down the U.S. and then, of course, Brazil a distant second. So that's a global effect, okay? So that's capturing everyone's attention, okay? And then, of course, everyone's at a standstill because it's all about quarantining and staying inside, and people are just, they are imploding, some folks, because of the changes that are transpiring and how it affects their lives or their livelihood, the economic impact, the financial impact. So so that's an additional component to the health aspect, which is first and foremost. Okay. And then you shine a spotlight on the racial injustices that's been taking place since inception of this country. And so you have what we have now, all of this just taking place right here and now in the U.S., you from every facet. Then we have, a lack of leadership. We're a very fractured country. We're a very heterogeneous country, and one with a lot of, especially right now, there's a lot of mistrust. And I suspect there's mistrust in every administration. So let me take that back. This is nothing new. But, there is certainly, there's nothing being veiled. Look, one thing about this particular president, he has certainly snatched back the curtain, and we know how the sausage is made. Okay, it's all about the cronyism and everything else. Anywho, that's not what this is about. What this is about, this particular show, is, okay, I'm saying that it is my feeling that the one possible outcome, okay, one possible outcome, one potential outcome is things can get worse before they get better, because, ultimately everything is happening for the betterment. However, it may be, we may not have seen the darkest before the dawn, okay? So I want to prepare, or at least have this discussion on how to prepare for such. I mean, because there are things legally that's transpiring that would have people certainly stressed out, worried, anxious, restless, not able to sleep. But with folks don't know if they'll be protected in terms of evictions and not being in a position where they could afford to pay rent, because from certain news articles, or actually specials segments that were done, landlords are filing the paperwork, even though that they know they won't be processed until a certain date. But they're getting in line, so there is a pipeline of eviction, so to speak. Then there is the financial protection. However much it was, whether it was enough or not enough, it doesn't matter. It was something more than nothing, that people were being extended for unemployment, and also the stimulus check, or infusion, or deposit, direct deposit. So these are things that need to be taken into consideration, because there's a lot of people that's concerned about these things transpiring just at the end of the month. So we're looking at just 2 weeks away. Okay, so there is concern, that people might be stressed, worried, or and this may be your experience. Now, I can't take that away, but what I'm trying to say, if this is your experience, there's something beautiful in disguise. And this is where your love and faith will come into play. This is where it is necessary, okay? So, if you can, and this is for everyone, think about, dig around in your memory bank and think about times, whether you can only think of one, or one quickly comes to mind, or if there are countless, okay? But think of a time or several times in which God was present, that something would not have transpired without God's presence, God's power. Okay? Whether, somebody saved your life, you might see it as perhaps that particular person, but, God works through that person. So your life was saved. Okay? So whoever you gave the credit to, it really doesn't matter. I just need you to recall a situation in which you knew that God was involved. Okay? If someone saved you, you helped save someone, however it works for you. And the reason why this is important is because of faith. Okay? We talk about faith, and faith is just a word when we are talking about it. That is all it is. Because faith gets tried when the time comes. Okay? When the time comes. Faith gets tried when the time comes. And once you have a strong faith, it doesn't get tried anymore, because you know if your faith is shaky, if you have some doubt, if you harbor or entertain some semblance of fear, doubt, stress, worry, restlessness, sleeplessness, nightmares, cold sweats, whatever it is that you might be going through, I need you to develop your faith. Faith is a knowing, and it is a beautiful feeling. And if there's anything that you know and feel good about, then you should understand what faith is. And faith is, I don't even want to call it a security blanket, but, for a lack of a better word, it's everything. It's you just know that you're in oneness. Faith is oneness. You're in oneness. And there's nothing greater than the presence that you're in. Listen, faith is incredible. Faith is incredible. Like I said, until you know it, until you feel it, till you be it, it's just a word. But it's a beautiful word with a whole lot of power. If you can get into it. But yeah, so it's it. Faith, harmony, love, truth, wisdom. These are my 5 go-to words. Faith and harmony are faith, harmony, love. To me, truth and wisdom are functions of the first 3. Harmony, you don't ever have to worry about second guessing anything. Think about the beauty of harmony. Like I said, with faith, it's like, it's just, I don't know, it's like having that big brother, a big sister, or just knowing you're just protected. It's like, your magic. You know what I'm saying? It's just indescribable, but it really is. But it's such, it's nothing that you willed or anything. It's just that that everything is going to be okay. Because that's what faith is. Everything is for the good, for the betterment, even if we cannot see it as human beings, okay? Remember, God functions, operates, vibrates on a whole different level. Everything is not revealed to us. Now, there are those who can foresee, and that's beautiful. But on the average, that's not the case, at least not right now, okay? But the beauty is, they say seeing is believing. Well, listen, faith is knowing, and you don't have to see anything. It's all invisible, but it's just the knowing. It's just the knowing. Okay, anyway, I'm getting a little caught up into the emotions. So faith is that knowing, and harmony is just that flow, that rhythm, that motion, that perfect motion, that blend, that orchestration, that perfect harmonious blend of energy that encapsulates everything. That's on a level that we couldn't even possibly understand because there's so many moving parts. Think about how many times you've heard that in a meeting. Now, imagine it on God's level if you can even fathom such a thing. You know what I'm saying? It would be immensely incredible. Look, there's 7 billion people, 7.5 billion people just on this planet alone. We're not even talking about all the activity that takes place outside of the planet Earth that we are practically oblivious to. We're not even speaking on that. So, but it's just, you think about that magnitude, that's beautiful. And then you think about the little insignificant thing that you worry about, and in reality it's just a perspective. And when you think about how the physicality of life is really meaningless, it's just an experience, and we've turned it into some sort of living hell for each other and for ourselves, because what we do unto others, of course, is also done unto us. And then we sit around wondering, what did I do to deserve this? And if you don't recall this lifetime, so what? There are previous lifetimes that you've agreed to forget, and for good reason. Who wants to carry that baggage around? You're having enough problems with the one incarnation that exists currently. You see where I'm going with this? Okay. So we have to move past our own physical being, because it limits us. It is limiting. But but it's not meant to be limitless. Only the soul is. We're supposed to enjoy the experience, process the experience, extract the beauty from the experience and share it with others. Okay, remember, we all come from God. And we have such a hard time just being respectful to each other. We want to feel like we're better than someone else. That's not, God didn't express itself in variation to hate itself. Now, that is a part of it. That energy exists at this level, at the physical level, at the level at which man exists, particularly mankind. So that energy does exist, and it can get expressed, because we don't know any different. We think that, there's a devil. No, these are all different energies, and we have them all, because that's another gift from God. But we don't operate at God's level. So our energy is capable of expressing itself. It's not capable of expressing itself at God's level, because it's too high. It's inexpressible. It doesn't exist at that level. Anywho. Okay, but what I'm saying is, what had happened was, if things become worse before they get better, and I'm talking about over the next few months, the more difficult, I would say, the closer you want to be. Okay, so let's go back to Proverbs again. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart. Don't think about it, just be it. Be it. Feel it. Allow it to permeate every aspect of your being through the heart. Through the heart, okay? So feel God. That takes me back to, Psalm 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. So trust in the Lord with all thine heart. Feel it. Feel God in every part of your body. Feel God in every part of your body, And that's a form of meditation. And what does that feel like? It varies. It depends on you. For me, when I feel God in every part of my body, I generally don't feel my body. I know it's there. If I move something, I will, when I feel God at every part of my body, I generally do not feel my body. And I know it's there, and but I have my eyes closed, but I have my hands, my left hand cupped over my heart and my right hand cupped over my left hand. So I'm cognizant. It's just by this point, I just don't feel anything. I'm at a different place energetically. So that's what it feels like for me. But everyone is different. That's my experience. And I enjoy it. It's euphoric, of course, for me. When you think about inspiration and gifts and energy, it's awesome. It's just, that's like I said, it's my experience, and it's hard to verbalize or, try to qualify, describe, because it's like, how do you describe an orange to someone? Or the taste of a lemon? Well, lemon you can say sour, orange you can say sweet, but that's the extent of it. That's not really telling you how either one of them taste. Okay, so you get my point. So the reason, okay, so let's get to the first, that's just the first half of 5. And then it says, and lean not onto thine own understanding. So don't trust your own judgment. And the reason why this is important, because your own judgment is limited in its perspective. Okay? It's only going by experiences that it has had in this incarnation, and if you're lucky, you are drawing upon some subconscious energy that's probably embedded in your DNA. However, unless you are completely in tune with your past lives, you're not really sure of the quality of that source of reference is coming from. It might have an adversity, and if you're not ready to process that right now. So I'm just saying, be mindful. I'm not trying to scare you. Just be mindful, okay? Particularly if you're inexperienced with, going back and forth. Anywho, but lean not onto thine own understanding. So you can't trust your own judgment. But you have to be cognizant of that, okay? That, if this is the first time hearing it, then you're not ready. But, yeah, you can't trust your own judgment because okay, I'm limited in my perspective. Even though I like to believe I'm the most objective person, okay, who probably doesn't. I'm sure that, even realistically, there's still people out there who, yeah. So, but But the first thing I know is, listen, God knows it all. And there goes my faith. You know what I'm saying? I'm not worried because God knows all. And God, at the end of the day, listen, I'm flowing with harmony. I'm flowing with faith. Listen, I'm riding the natural train, okay? The universal life train. I'm flowing with that. I'm not trying to create my own or this, that, and the third. Hey, I just want let's just get as many people on board as possible. How about that? That's what I want to help with. So, whatever that takes. Okay. Yes, I'm getting caught up emotionally, ladies and gentlemen. But it's important for me to communicate how important faith and harmony and love and truth and wisdom is, particularly faith, love, and harmony. Faith, harmony, and love. They're like I said, until you get there, they're like some beautiful safety nets. They are like some really beautiful safety nets because when you entertain these words, you should entertain them in all its beauty and splendor. So when you do say these words, when you do use them as safe words or, help words or rescue words or whatever you want to call them, you know what kind of energy it will bring because you have associated these words with all types of strength and purity and beauty and a feeling of freedom and just absolute being, however you can imagine that to feel like. You know what I'm saying? That's awesome. So, because of course, I always think of God as the absolute. So just anyway. So, but that's all a part of it, though. That's all a part of developing your faith is these images and attaching these feelings. And, and I've talked about it over the course of episodes over the almost year. We're coming up on a year, ladies and gentlemen. But this is all a part about your individual spiritual development, okay? You're developing it spiritually, but it benefits the whole. Do you understand this? Okay, so yes, you're doing it for yourself, but everything you do for yourself, you also are doing it to others, and everything you do to others, you're doing to yourself. So what you want to do is you want to stay focused, and you want to be positive, and you want to stay healthy, and you want to channel good energy. So you want to spend time meditating, like I said, and developing these words into like energy cells, so to speak. So when you think of like the word faith or harmony, you're having great thoughts. Because the energy that you've attached to it, the imagery that you have attached to it, that you have associated with it, that's what you want. Okay, anyway, so lean not on thine own understanding. So listen, don't trust your judgment, especially if you start second guessing yourself. Okay, because all that is that's just the ego. That's just, if anything, it's just a demonstration of a lack of faith. So you definitely do not want to entertain that at all. And I know that you got to practice. Like I've said so many times before, if you're still having trouble with that, you must practice. You must practice. So. Okay, so now let's move on to number 6. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Now, this is how you focus. In all thy ways acknowledge him. Okay, so over the next few months, over the next few weeks, I have a suspicion, okay? I'm not even going to say, I have a suspicion that things may potentially get worse before they get better. And if that is the case, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. So in all thy ways acknowledge him. So regardless of what's going on in your life, financially, physically, racially, academically, whatever aspect of your life that you may find yourself encountering issues, health-wise, relatives, people who are close to you may be stressed or burdened, which of course would affect you as well. Pray for others. I mean, I know we do, but keep a rotation going. Invite new people into your prayer circle. And when I say that, I'm not talking about pray with other people unless that's something you feel comfortable doing. But what I'm saying is, we have people that we pray for probably all the time. People in our inner circle, so to speak. Our friends, our family, our closest friends. Excuse me. Okay, I need to do a commercial for our for all our shows. So give me. Is this it? Hold on. Okay, the new commercial. I'll be back in 1 minute.
You are listening to Heart Over Ego Radio, a network of shows offering healing and guidance for your beautiful journey. Tune in on Mondays for the Alchemy Sisters, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern. Tuesdays, tune in and tune up. Body Awareness and Self-Care, 11 Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Wednesdays, One4ALLisLove, 1:30 Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Thursdays, Unbound with Cynthia Martin, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern. Fridays, The Witching Hour with Greenwich Village and the Alchemy Sisters, 11 Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. And on Fridays, Rain Radio, 10 Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Saturdays, Creating Heaven on Earth, 11 Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. And Sundays, Everyday Psychic Radio at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. This is the Heart Over Ego Radio Network.
Okay, and we're back. Excellent. Okay, so we're discussing Proverbs 3:6, "In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths." So, and this is in reference to me saying that things can potentially or may potentially become worse before they become better. And just if that is the case, then let's prepare. Know that what you want to do from a spiritual perspective. And I say that not, and I'm certainly not trying to undermine anyone, but it's one thing to teach and preach, and it's another to practice. Okay? And the practice is the discipline. That's usually what exacts change. Okay, you have to be disciplined. And in this case, what you want to be disciplined at doing is turning to God. Okay? And a lot of times people do it all the time. They just don't do it formally. Like when they have an adversity, they'll ask God, what does this mean? What did I do to deserve this? That type of thing. And of course, that gets the ball rolling because it's a conversation. You put it out there. You've expressed it. The universe has to respond. Okay? That's how it works. So that's one form of it, is what I'm saying. So oftentimes we already practice it. It's just informal. So what you want to do is let that become your habit. When when things, learn not to take the credit or the blame. Okay? See, it's easy not to take the blame because we don't really want to bring that type of negative light to, on us. However, people are often quick to take the credit. But if you think about not wanting to take the blame, it's easy to say, to give the credit somewhere else. Just give the credit to God because that's where it all comes from anyway. That's why, like church people used to say all the time, glory be to God all the time. Because God is the source of everything, even through us, even though we have the creative power, of We have the power of choice and creativity. Okay? But even those powers, those are God-given. Now, how we choose to use them is a reflection on us, but at the end of the day, those gifts, those powers, are from God as well. So, and there's so many different ways to think about that too, because yes, everything comes from God, so we are an expression of God. Each and every one of us is an expression of God. So wouldn't it behoove us to want to express the best of ourselves, which represents God? Yes. But we don't think about that. And we're not raised with that question in mind or with those thoughts in mind. But we need to. We should be. That should be the direction that we go in. It's not so much and other parts of the country, of the world, it may be that way. I just may be ignorant of it. Listen, I know that there is a planet full of stuff that I don't know. So I am certainly nowhere near arrogant or vain. However, my point is this, though. Lean on God. So I was talking about expressing the best in ourselves, which would only be a representation of God. God gives us everything. If we express the best, oh my goodness, and it would just keep growing. But it's that initiative, that first step. Anywho, okay, let's get back to being prepared, ladies and gentlemen. We want to be prepared. So talk to God often, whether it's formal or informal. God has a sense of humor. And all conversations don't have to be formal, don't have to involve the Bible or candles or incense or any special sitting position. It doesn't even require you opening your eyes or moving your mouth. That's the beauty of God. God is everywhere all the time. So don't exert a whole lot of energy being concerned about who can hear you and what they can see. Don't be overly concerned about man's law. God sees everything. It's karmic law, karmic debt, cause and effect. That is what helped manifest your reality, coupled with your thoughts and feelings. So, but that relationship, listen, that relationship is beautiful. And it's personal. And you can have it anywhere. At any time. That's your rock, your foundation. So all this turmoil that the world is going through, the pandemic, the social unrest, the economic collapse, and who knows, however, pollution has improved. Pollution has decreased. Climate conditions has improved. Please accept my apologies, my faux pas. But yeah, so, pollution has decreased since the global pandemic because there have been less activity. Of course, the next big issue is schools. That's become the next political football. Of course, they want to open schools so parents can go back to work, so they can feel good about the economy and vote for the incumbent. Listen, it is not. I mean, you could send kids to school, but that, at the risk of injuring folks. That's basically it, because it's only going to be a week or two before you end up shutting them down. And taking temperatures is not enough. For people who are asymptomatic, taking their temperature is not going to do anything. They don't express the symptoms, so they're not going to have a fever. So that's not enough while you're saying, no masks, no 6 feet, apart. Anywho, this show is not about that, but you see how it will continue to get worse before it will get better, because schools open up in the South like in 2.5, 3 weeks. The first week in August. So, 2.5, 3 weeks. So decisions have to be made. And like I said, people are going through things. Everybody's not going through the same thing, but be mindful. Just because your experience is not someone else's and someone else's isn't yours, be mindful, be compassionate. That's why we want to pray for the healing of the planet. Okay, let's include everyone. Let's be inclusive. We want the whole, I think it's a little arrogant to say the whole universe, because, listen, we don't know the condition of the universe. We do know the condition of this planet. So, yes, pray for this planet. Pray for the healing of this planet. Pray for the healing of every soul on this planet, okay? So whatever you do unto others, it is automatically done to you. So pray for others, not just for yourself, but because it has such a exponential effect. If I'm praying for you and you're praying for me, and what we do to others come back to us, can you see the beauty and how rapidly the planet would heal? The more souls that contribute, the faster, exponentially speaking, the planet. Look at how the pollution started dissipating after a couple of months of being indoors. Air pollution in China, water pollution in Venice and other places. Listen, that's the beauty of nature. Nature, of course, is God. Listen, but that's the beauty of nature. All things are possible. The word says it itself. It's not impossible. It's I'm possible. I'm possible. And that's not a hard sell, folks. God says, I am that I am. I'm possible. Be still and know that I am God. I'm possible. Not only am I possible, I'm here. I'm present. We're beyond possible. We have manifestation. I'm present. That's beautiful. Listen, when you think about, oh my goodness, when you think about just however you process it, but the beauty of God, the power of God, how God created or expressed all these different humans, how we're all unique. even twins, even identical triplets, or it doesn't matter. That is, listen, and then you can even think of something as simple as numbers like 0 and 9 and the beauty of it. And it's all nature and it's God. And so when you start, okay, so just going through that, and it might sound crazy to some of y'all, but those who are trying to be in tune and enjoy riding the spiritual wave can feel the beauty in what I'm saying. And that is all part of the God experience. You know, it's the beauty in everything, in every aspect of life. And it's so interesting because I'm taking this class and my instructor had told me, he had asked me what was I eating at the time. We were taking class on Zoom. And I was eating sherbet. And I was like, oh, it's not good for you. He said, don't say that. He said, don't say that. He said, basically, he was telling me, don't empower whatever it is that I am consuming with negative energy. Because if I think it's negative, then why would I consume it? Everything that is of God is pure, and that's only what I'm consuming. Okay. And it made sense. I mean, of course, you know, I meditated on it. I mean, it made sense when he said it. So it wasn't a hard sell, but I meditated on it even more just because when I had made the comment to him, it came out almost subconsciously. So clearly that's something that I need to work on because I'm under the impression that things that I enjoy eating, like sweets, are not good for me. And if you think that way, as a matter of fact, I'm going to make sure that I include, there's a study that was done about some guys that were on a ship. They were taking a trip, and their ship, I want to say it was up in the North Pole somewhere, but their ship crashed or whatever, or hit an iceberg, and of course it became splintered, this, that, and the third, and they actually lived out on seawater for certainly greater than 3 days, but I want to say for some weeks. And the reason this is important is because, of course, our body cannot consume salt water and live. It needs fresh water. And, of course, fresh water only comes from the sky, falls from the sky, that magical sky, that beautiful magical sky. But, yeah, but these people, these sailors survived, and when they had talked to them, it was a psychological study. And when they had spoke to them, when they interviewed them, they had, I think it was the captain who kept telling them that this is, fresh water and blah, blah, blah. And, it's imperative for them to keep repeating it and thinking it. So there is some effect. And, of course, any psychologist will tell you that, of course, psychologists, spiritual people, metaphysicians, anyway, that the power of suggestion, how strong it is, how powerful it is. So I do want to include that because it just goes to show you how well we can do anything that we want to do. We have the power in us. Most of the time, I'm sure you can read any article about it, most people are self-defeated. They don't think they can, so they don't. Or they perceive something to be too hard, so they don't even try. They generally don't get started for one reason or another. And oftentimes it's because they talk themselves out of it. You could also include procrastination or, a lack of drive or initiative or laziness or lack of ambition, whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, we all have the power to do whatever it is that we want to do, and we do it. If you ever notice it, and just think about yourself. Think back. I don't have to think back on myself because I know myself well enough and I know my experiences. But, there have been some things that you absolutely didn't do or drug your feet doing, blah, 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 and it was like the most painful experience. And then there was something else that you was completely interested in and you did it in no time flat. It appeared that you did it in no time flat, but it was that you were excited about it. You were zealous about it. You were interested. You were passionate. So it was something that you wanted to do. Therefore, you never perceived it as work. It was exciting, and even when it was difficult, it was just challenging, but it was still rewarding. Do you see where I'm going with this? It's all in a matter of perception. So it's better to find and to do something that you like, that excites you, that will ignite you, to do, to act, to express the best in you, the God in you. That's our ultimate goal. Our ultimate goal is to attract, receive, integrate, and express. Attract God's gifts, receive God's gifts, okay? Integrate into our makeup and share it. So receive, be, and share. That's it. Receive, be, and share. Accept, receive, accept, be, and share. That's what it is to be a human. And this is what will help us grow in consciousness. Receive God's gifts and understand that what we are. So this negative pole or aspect or opposite duality, this adverse, experience or aspect of being, recognize it for what it is and be the authority of it over it. Like they said in Lord of the Rings, you shall not pass. And that's it. You are the authority over that energy. But if you don't know it, the energy takes over you. The inmates are running the asylum. So God is in each and every one of us. We have the beauty of choice and creativity. And because of that, we think we are these individualistic, isolated, disconnected, or not connected sovereign beings. And there's only one sovereign being. Only one. And everything is a part of it. We're not that. We are an individual expression of God. We are not a sovereign being. We have been blessed with the power of choice and creativity and has run away with the concept. And that's fine. Enjoy it. I'm not knocking anybody's hustle because look how much life has changed. There's a lot of things that are beautiful that's taking place. I just want to roll with, I just want to roll with the universe. I just want to roll with God, with harmony. I'm just going with the flow. I just want to be of service. How may I be of service with the gifts that you have blessed me with? How might I best express you with the gifts that you have blessed me with? And I think part of it is this podcast. I have a gift for communication. And I suspect my show will become more and more polished as I become more and more inspired. But I certainly appreciate the podcast. It gives me an opportunity to focus. And focus is discipline. and it's also necessary for results. We have to focus. Remember, energy flows where attention goes. So focus on what's important. That's why I say, if things unfold and appear to be getting worse, do not be dismayed. Cleave even stronger to faith, to harmony, to love. I encourage you to practice as often, or be in the moment as often as possible. Practice love. Practice compassion. Things can always be worse. Remember, focus on what you have, not what you don't have. Appreciate where you are. Grow where you are planted. Grow where you are planted. So I wrote some stuff and posted it on One4ALLisLove's page on Facebook. And the Grow Where Planted saying was, be masterful with one's words. And what's important about that is not that you have to have this exceptional vocabulary. Work with the one that you have. Just focus on not being negative. Try to use your words carefully, constructively. Remember, we have the power of choice, the power of creativity. Choose wisely as your words create. Okay, whether you know it or not. So be mindful of that. Then there was also another saying, the healthy self, heal thyself, healthy self. Positive energy vibrates at higher elevations, sees the beauty, the lesson, the growth opportunity in life's experiences. And that's basically, what I'm talking about in this show. I'm just saying that as things appear to get negative, just gravitate more towards your strength, your foundation, your rock, okay? That's your faith, listen, God is and is not tangible, okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got the 90-second mark, so it's time for me to wrap it up. I want to thank you so kindly, but listen, stay focused, stay faithful, stay in harmony, and stay loving towards one another. Remember, be compassionate, be understanding, okay? Be loving towards one another, okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for today. Enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend, and I will see you next week, July 22nd. And I'll post the topic way before, a few hours before the show. Thank you for listening. Come again, and feel free to drop me a comment or a suggestion at One4ALLisLove@gmail.com. Love you and goodbye. Mwah.